Hey, Sean Bunton here. I'm out here in my garage in Coleman, Alabama, with my new Phoenix 921 Elite. One hell of a boat. I want to thank everybody who had a hand in me deciding to switch from Nitro to Phoenix. Not bad mouthing Nitro, had some great experiences, made a lot of great memories in my Nitro boat, but here is the next generation of my fishing, and I'm really so excited to share some information about the new boat with you. So I'm going to take you on a little tour of the most advanced DC battery power system on the planet right now. PowerHouse Lithium battery technology, state-of-the-art, innovative, and robust and reliable system. I want to show it to you. Stand by. Okay, so I've had a great lesson from the designer and engineer of the PowerHouse Lithium technology and the configuration layout and designer of how we rigged my boat, Bob Croxton, and very smart, very intelligent, very innovative thinking from Bob in everything he does. It shows in everything. And I've seen a lot of his work, and I'm glad and proud to call him a friend. But let me take you on the tour. We're fixing to jump in on a quick little dive into my power system, and then you guys can ask questions. And I may misspeak, but if I do, we'll correct it and make sure that I come back and give you the right information. But let's go ahead and check this out, okay? Okay, so let me, all right, so I got the battery compartment opened up. I really like how Phoenix, designed this for ease of access, at least from outside the boat. Maybe a little bit cumbersome if you had to manage something while in the boat out on the water, but nonetheless, it's really nice when you're rigging it up. But let me just start over here. Let's go from the port side all the way over, and I'm just going to describe the components real quick. So I've got a Minn Kota Precision MK 460 PCL onboard charger, and then I've got a single 40 amp hour 36 volt PowerHouse Lithium cell. I've got that in parallel with another 40 amp hour 36 volt PowerHouse Lithium cell. And then we've got a 16 volt 100 amp hour PowerHouse Lithium battery cell. We've got a Perco switch right here. We've got two PowerHouse DC to DC battery chargers. Those are what we call and refer to as run and gun battery chargers. And then I've got a traditional AGM 31 series interstate battery is my cranking battery on this system. So there it is, Minn Kota MK 460 PCL onboard charger, two 36 volt 40 amp hour trolling batteries in parallel, one 16 volt PowerHouse Lithium battery cell for all my graphs, and I'm going to explain that in a minute. A Perco switch, I'll explain what that's used for, and the run and gun chargers, and then of course I've got my onboard AGM cranking battery, and of course a big part of the power system while on the water and while running is the alternator on the Mercury 4-stroke Pro XS. Before I go in and explain, how my boat is configured and why that we rigged it and configured it the way that we did, and when I say we, Bob Croxton helped me, rig this boat, and it was his configuration idea, that we utilized in rigging my boat. So, but before we get into that, I want to say that with the ever increasing electronic devices, graphs, live imaging, transducers, Mega 360, Mega Live Pan Optics Live Scope, what's the active target, there's a live well pumps, auxiliary lights, power poles, all these things come off of your cranking battery. And so, when you add all that up throughout a day, and you don't maybe run around a lot to recharge that cranking battery with the big motor, I mean, let's face it, I want to keep my lure in the water. I don't really want to run around a whole lot if I can help it. Sometimes we do. And, your battery, your cranking battery is recharged. But it's really, a rule of thumb is pretty simple. You can look at the specifications for all of your electronic devices and all the gadgets that you run in your boat, and you can add up the maximum current draw of all those devices. It's really simple. It's really just addition. And you take and divide, the amp hour rating of the device by the amount of amps that you're drawing. That pretty much tells you, the capacity of your system and how much reserve you have and how long, that your batteries will last throughout the day. Now that's a rule of thumb, right? Weather conditions, environmental conditions can play a big role in that rule of thumb, maybe swinging one way or the other, so something to consider. If you need help figuring out the math, by all means, we can talk, and I'll walk you through it. We'll figure out what you have and calculate what size batteries that you need. But I think you're going to find with my system, it probably won't matter a whole lot what I've got, because I'm going to have a pretty good bit of reserve power, and going to, when I crank the big motor up, you'll see that my system's going to charge everything and so forth. So anyway, let's, if you got questions about what you need and what size batteries and all this, because there's so many options out there, we can talk about it. One other thing too is the 16 volt battery is something that I'm going to kind of elaborate on in a minute, but I use 16 volts for all my graphs. So all of my graphs, all of my Mega 360 and my Pan Optics, the black box, everything that requires power from my Garmin electronics, and all of my Humminbird Helix 12s, all are powered from a 16 volt PowerHouse Lithium cell. That is awesome. The resolution and the images that I'm getting are second to none, I promise you. We're going to look at it. Stand by. Okay, so I may do another video on the calculations necessary to determine your battery sizing for your particular boat, and I'd be happy to help y'all, that have questions about that, make those calculations and determine that. I am an electrical engineer, so I have probably some advanced training and skills associated with power systems calculations. Some of you may be electricians and engineers, and some of you may just have a good common sense about the electrical systems in general as well. And I'm not by any means trying to belittle you, but I said that as a little note, just to let you know that I'm not a shade tree mechanic that is shooting you a bunch of facts or just commenting on how I've got this system configured, and without having done my homework. And I know that the designer and engineer behind this, Bob Croxton, has definitely done his homework. As a matter of fact, he schooled me pretty well during the installation process of my system. Let's start from the other side, like I was saying. So, the Minn Kota 4-bank 15 amp per bank charger, that MK460 basically says 4 banks supplying 60 amps to my battery. So typically, And the way this boat was rigged from the dealer, one of those banks went to the AGM cranking battery, the interstate battery right here, and the other 3 banks went to one of each of the 12-volt interstate deep cycle trolling batteries. So all 4 banks were being used as configured from the dealer. Now, the way that Bob has this set up, and I'm gonna kind of come full circle, so bear with me. We basically took one bank and we're not using it. We actually pulled the fuse out, and if you look right here, you'll see that the fuse is actually out of this particular bank right here. And we have tied all 3 of those banks from that charger, all 3 of them, 45 amps worth of charging capacity when I'm plugged into an AC wall outlet or extension cord like you might have in your garage or boathouse or when you're on the road traveling and fishing. We're supplying 45 amps AC, from an AC source, which is obviously converted to DC through the Minn Kota charger. But all 4 positive sides of that 4-bank charger are going into this Perco switch. Okay, that enables me to switch, and I'm going to tell you about that in a minute. And then we've got a lug here that ties every single ground cable on all of these battery systems and the chargers to one common point. So that's it. That's important. Okay, that enables me to do some switching, and I'll elaborate in a minute. That gives me some flexibility and some more reliability, some redundancy. So anyway, so that 45 amp charger, whenever I'm in the garage like I am now, it actually is charging. It's actually connected to, this is connected to my cranking battery. This Perco switch has 2 leads, a positive and a negative, that connect all that Minn Kota battery charger to my cranking battery. Okay? What happens here is that this Perco switch enables me to switch my graphs between a 16-volt source. So this Perco switch is also connected to my 16-volt battery cell. So the positive and negative also tie into that Perco switch and the common ground point, okay, as does the 12-volt battery. So I can switch this way and put this in this position to the left, to the port side, and I am running my graphs off of my 16-volt PowerHouse Lithium battery cell, 100 amp hours, okay? If I turn this switch to the right, if something for unforeseen reason happens while I'm out fishing to this 16-volt battery, I don't want to be dead in the water. I have the option and the flexibility to switch my graphs to this battery. Might sound a little complicated to you right now, but I assure you it's been tested and it works great, okay? So we're gonna come back. So right now we're talking about charging situations where I'm plugged into an AC adapter, an extension cord running into my Minn Kota charger, okay? So this system, when it's being charged from the Minn Kota, remember I told you that it is actually going to this cranking battery. 45 amps through the Perco switch are coming to this battery, charging it up. How am I charging a 36-volt battery and a 16-volt battery? All right, that's the next topic. Okay, now we've been talking about the situation where I am plugged in with an extension cord to my onboard charger, and I am putting up to 45 amps to my AGM interstate cranking battery, okay? That's the only battery in the boat that's not lithium. You could probably run a lithium battery here. I don't know. I may be misspeaking right there. I really, fundamentally speaking, I don't see a problem with it, but there may be some quirky things going on there, but I'm not sure. So let's just don't even let's don't bring that up right now. I chose to run an AGM battery here, and that's the discussion that I'm making right here. So as the Minn Kota MK460 precision charger is supplying up to 45 amps of charging capacity to my AGM battery, this AGM battery is also connected through the Perco switch to these run and gun chargers. So one of these chargers is a 12 volt to 36 volt charging system. So it's basically a transformer. It transforms 12 volts to 36 volts, one of them does, and the other one transforms the voltage from 12 volts to 16 volts. When my Minn Kota charger is connected to the wall through an extension cord, I am putting up to 45 amps on this AGM battery cell, and both of these run and gun chargers are actually charging up my 16 volt batteries and the 36 volt batteries. They're putting 10 amps to each one of those. Now that's you won't get super fast charging by that, but within an 8-hour window we can get fully charged. And one cool thing, let me elaborate on this. PowerHouse Lithium has an app that shows you the health and status of your battery systems via Bluetooth. So I can be inside the house and I can actually see the status of my batteries. You can see here that my 16 volt battery is got 16.81 volts. It's in standby. It's drawing no current. The temperature is 11.8 degrees Celsius, and I am at 100% charge capacity. Okay? So anyway, that's how that works. Now, in addition to that, I've got some other auxiliary chargers. They're kind of small, but I have the option if I want to charge up a little faster than the 10 amps that the run and gun onboard PowerHouse Lithium DC to DC chargers are putting to my PowerHouse Lithium system. I can actually plug an auxiliary charger into the 16 volt cell right here. It's a nice quick disconnect that comes with the chargers, and got the same thing for the 36 volt cells. So one hell of a system. Again, reliability in running my graphs off of 16 volts, the Perco switch, tying everything together through the Perco gives me the flexibility and reliability and redundancy in swapping my graphs from this 16 volt battery to my 12 volt cranking battery. So great peace of mind. The other part of this is I have two 36 volt batteries. Again, double redundancy. If I have a problem with one of them, I've still got power, and just a great peace of mind for out there on the water. So anyway, I'm going to, excuse me, if you understood everything that I just told you, then you'll understand the next concept and the next feature that my PowerHouse Lithium power plant has. And I'm going to touch on that next. So one really cool thing about the run and gun chargers is that they help my boat charge up when I'm in the garage, but they also help recharge my system when I'm on the water, whenever this mercury power plant is running. I believe that the mercury alternator can supply up to 85 amps. That's a lot of power to my cranking battery to recharge it. And so while the boat is running, that additional energy being supplied to my cranking battery allows my run and gun chargers, and you can see that they're green right now, which means they're not charging. If they were, you would see them turn red periodically and then go green. And what's happening there is that the internal system in the charger is smart, and it knows when to when you're having you get to a threshold for voltage level, and so it turns on and off as a safeguard so you don't damage anything. How cool is that? Okay. Again, Bob Croxton has thought about just about everything. So anyway, when the outboard is running, I am charging up my AGM cranking battery through the alternator on the Mercury and through the PowerHouse Lithium DC to DC chargers. I've got to have two, because remember, I've got a 16 volt cell and a 36 volt cell. When I'm doing that and the big motor's running, we call that running and gunning charging, run and gun charger. The run and gun charger is actually putting energy back into my 16 volt PowerHouse Lithium graph system battery, and also to my 36 volt trolling system. Again, one heck of an idea. Power pole charge. You know, it has some features maybe that are a little different. You know, it moves, power from one battery cell to another one. This one doesn't. The PowerHouse Lithium power plant does not move power from one battery to the other, but it's configured such that you can charge your system while you're running and gunning, and you have such the reliability, capacity, and longevity of a charge, and how efficient that lithium batteries are. You have all of those things tied in together with the PowerHouse Lithium technology. State of the art, top of the line. We spared no expense in putting this system together for you. And we are fishermen. Bob Croxton is a fisherman. He understands what we want, what we need, and I think he's got one hell of a product here. Him and RJ have got this PowerHouse Lithium technology, and I highly recommend you looking into it. It's a pretty complicated setup, especially if you're not real technical savvy with electronics and electrical terminology and charge and discharge and charge rate and voltage and current and amps and Ohm's law and power and all those technical things. But you don't have to be. That's why we're here. And trust me, we have ran through the motions. We have put this system through the paces, and we have a great product to offer you. And I really highly recommend you go check it out. PowerHouse Lithium batteries. Sean Bunton, on behalf of PowerHouse Lithium, tight lines, and I'll see you on the water.